Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and do some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys requested to see, and I definitely think it has potential to perform pretty nice for us. These shells have been a surprisingly good performer so far in our testing, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they can do through today's setup. But as for today's shells, I brought out some more of the Remington Express Magnum buckshot loads, but these ones are their 12 gauge, 3-inch, 10 pellet load of triple-aught buck, moving about 12-25 feet per second, and although Remington isn't necessarily known for making the best patterning shells, both turkey and buckshot, some of their new Express line has been rather surprising for us. And these shells, in the number of times we tested them so far, they've actually been pretty solid. So I've got some decent hopes for them through today's setup, but we'll see what happens. But as for the combo we're going to run them through, I brought out my Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, we've got the stock turkey full choke in here. That's what Mossberg calls this particular flush choke. It's a 710 constriction, so it's essentially a flush extra full choke. If you don't know, these 835s are overbored to a 10 gauge bore, which makes this 710 an extra full constriction, and it's shown us a number of good results with both turkey shells and buckshot loads. So we'll see how this combo can actually perform. But as for our test today, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards, the chronograph so we can get our velocity, and the templates that we can lay up over our results. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see how well these Remington Express triple-aught shells can perform through the 835 with that 710 extra full choke. I've got some decent hopes for it, but let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, so that shell gave us 1256 through the chrono. The boss claim is 1225, so we are just a little bit over that, but still mid 1200s, perfectly fine for these shells. And for a triple-aught buck, you're going to be carrying a good bit of energy down there with that velocity as well. But how did they actually pattern down there? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and I gotta say, it looks pretty decent, although a little bit of an oblong shape there, or a string I should say. But the white dot was my point of aim, and we did have all 10 pellets on the paper. You can see them all right there. I did measure the farthest 2 points across, which is pretty much just that diagonal line right there, and that gave us a 17-inch spread at 40 yards. So, not terrible as far as an overall spread goes. That's a pretty decent size, and it's absolutely going to get the job done for whatever you would need it for, but I would prefer a little bit more of an even or more circular pattern myself anyway. On this one, we definitely had a vertical string there and one flyer over there on the right. Definitely not the most ideal shape of a pattern. Now, of course, if we took 2 or 3 more shots, I can almost guarantee you that it would not be just a string. That's pretty much just luck of the draw sometimes. Either way, it's still a pretty decent pattern for what it is. But let's throw a couple templates up, which will give us a little better reference than just this blank sheet of paper as to how they actually performed. So first up, we have a 10-inch circle here, and at 40 yards, we had 4 pellets within that 10 inches. Everything else is behind the template, except for that one flyer over there on the right. So once again, we have a pretty decent sized pattern to work with here, and 4 out of 10 right through the core area is not bad. And it's more than enough with a triple-aught load to get the job done. But let's throw up some actual animal templates and see how this pattern would look if you would have taken this shot out there on a hunt. Alright, so here's our deer template, and when we line it up with our point of aim there, we would have had all 10 pellets that would have hit that deer at 40 yards. And clearly, it's absolutely a dead deer as well. He would not have made it very far, if anywhere at all. You've got a number of them right through the lungs area there, another 1 or 2 that might have gotten to the spine, and a few down there in the lower shoulder area. So yep, absolutely good enough for a 40-yard deer hunt. But once again, you can see how that straight up and down string of shot isn't necessarily the most ideal thing. I would much prefer a more even or more circular 17-inch spread than just a straight up string, but still this shows that this combo would be good enough for a 40-yard deer hunt all day long. So now let's throw up the hog template. I think it's pretty well going to be the exact same thing, but I've got it, so we might as well look at it for those of you curious about it, and we'll see how that one performed. And here's that hog template, and yeah, it's pretty well the exact same story. Absolutely good enough for a hog hunt as well. You've got plenty of them right through the vitals, and a triple-aught pellet is going to be carrying a good bit of energy down here as well for these hogs, so you would be just fine with this combination. And for those of you curious, if you would ever want to or just happen to use this combo for a predator hunt, or if a coyote came walking by, they would be just a touch smaller than what this hog template is, so you would have plenty enough pellets to get the job done for those guys as well. So overall, overall here today, I had some decent hopes coming into it that it was going to give us a good pattern, and I think it did. I like the overall size of the pattern, even though we had one or two flyers over there on the right and down a little bit low in that pig's front leg. So it's definitely not the most even spread of pellets, especially with the vertical string we have going on there, that's for sure. But still, for a Remington load, that's absolutely usable, and if that's what I had or wanted to hunt with, that's a combo I would absolutely use out to that 40-yard or so range. It's more than capable of getting the job done, whether it's a little bit stringy or not. So if anything, maybe I was hoping for a little more even or uniform of a spread, but still, that's a pretty decent size for what the load is, and definitely not a huge disappointment as far as our pattern goes. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? I think it's a pretty solid pattern for what it is, at least the overall size of it. Again, I don't really like that it's a pretty much vertical string there, but that's probably a little bit of luck of the draw as well. If we were to take another shot or two, I highly doubt that we would continue to get the same vertical string. But if we can keep it in that 16 to 18 inch overall spread range without having a ton of flyers, then that's a pretty solid performing combination there. For a triple-aught buck, that's going to absolutely get the job done for whatever you would ever want to use it for. So for a Remington load that is just buffered and doesn't have any kind of wad or anything, these seem to be some pretty decent performing shells through a good number of different chokes and setup combos that we've tried them through now. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Remington Express triple-aught shells? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Is that a pattern or a combo that you would ever hunt with? Or would you still prefer to see it a little bit more of an even spread and less of a string? And maybe what other shells or choke combos do you want to see with either that 835, an extra full choke, or those Remington Express triple-aught loads? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.